Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of My Cup of Water is Empty. So one of my friends on Facebook, he lives down in Texas, way out, as far west as you can get. He got off Facebook for a little while, and he's back on. I'm glad to see him back. He was an anarchist. He's not anymore. And I just wanted to say something concerning that issue. You know, when we got up here, we wound up in a pretty bad situation. And all the activists just weren't there.
They weren't worth shit.
And, you know, frankly, we're glad the state was there. You know, the state was there, because without that, we would have been sleeping on a park bench or in the car. We wouldn't have had any food. We wouldn't have this apartment.
Nice track. It says right here you can get one for $1.99 a month.
Can't believe the Lake Street Media, Gary. They're all gone.
Maybe I'll get one.
No, it's true. At one point early on there, I got really ticked off, and I had every right to be ticked off.
That's the power of German engineering.
But I did go after everybody when I shouldn't have gone after everybody. But, you know, I would love to see a stateless society. But to be fair and honest, who was it that was there for us when we were in need? It wasn't the other anarchist.
They don't give a shit about anybody except themselves.
Yeah, it was the state.
You get mad and saying that tough shit.
You know,
Don't care.
You know, and I've been thinking about this quite a bit for quite a while. You know, and I mean, I like the idea of, I love the idea of nonviolence. I mean, there's confusion on my part, because on the one hand, I do understand that the state, in and of itself, is a violent entity. At the same time, if people would just stand up and say enough's enough, you know, if they just wouldn't put up with the violence, if people would put into place the things that need to be put into place, the programs, if you will, that need to be put into place to help people, if people would be there for people, you know, you just come out and say, well, you're an individual. Like, a number of people have moved up here and have found out that there was nobody there for them. They were by themselves. And when they cried out for help, they were told, you're an individual. And they were provided no help. And what happened with some of them? They killed themselves. I don't want somebody else's death on my hands. I don't want somebody's death in Iraq, Afghanistan, Korea on my hands any more than I want someone here in New Cary. I don't want their blood on my hands either.
The exhaust, she looks just like Roxy. No, but she's in a better place now.
The thing is, with limited government grows. And government, the people in government have their own agendas. I mean, you go back to the early period of the United States. And if I remember, I want to say something else about countries after this. You have the Whiskey Rebellion. Well, there was one of the main reasons that it got to the point that it did was because George Washington was a whiskey maker, and he wanted the business for himself. He didn't want these guys in Tennessee, Kentucky, what would now include West Virginia, and which at the time would have been Virginia, part of Virginia anyway. You know, I mean, he didn't want them getting in on his monopoly or near monopoly of whiskey, of distilling and selling whiskey. So you see, he had an ulterior motive for being in government. And then there were the wars. Most people are unaware that there have always been wars in this country.
Well, I've always been a sucker for the torch lighting ceremony.
You know, long before Jefferson sent the Marines to deal with the Barbary pirates, they were already doing that. But anyway, I'll say something about countries. Here's a way you can look at it. Your house is your country. Your house is your kingdom. No one has the right to go into your house unless you say they can go in. Think of the so-called arbitrary borders that make up countries. You know, I'm not even from the United States. I'm from Spain originally. I've lived on 3 continents. To me, a country is sort of a mix of things. There's language, there's culture, but the United States does not exist in does not. The United States is not a single culture. There are many cultures, but anywhere, you know, even back home in Spain, you know, in Andalusia, where I'm from, we had our own little culture. And you know, you could find those little cultures everywhere. Just here in New Carey, you go to northern New Carey, you go to eastern New Carey, you find the culture changes, even if just a little bit. You know, if I don't want somebody coming into our house, then I have every right to say, don't come in here. Now think of a country as your house, or your house as a country. And again, I might like the idea of working toward a stateless society, but number one, we have a state. I mean, government exists. Number two, who was there for us? It was the state. The homeless shelters that we were in, and we got out of because the state helped us. None of the activists helped us. Thanks a billion. So, I'm just saying that maybe I should be more libertarian-minded instead of anarchist-minded. I don't know, just some thoughts.